Welcome to the Manana Ventures YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe. I'm your tutor, Figure Storm. So today we'll be doing functions, particularly quadratic functions and exponential functions combined. This is the typical question we have. Okay, we are given that the graph f, which is this one, that's the quadratic graph, and it's in that format. And then the exponential one is g, which is that graph over there. It's that one. Now it's important to note that on the g graph we have a point A, which is at 2, 4. Okay, all right. Now even this graph, all of these numbers, they correlate to the graphs exactly as they are. Okay, now the first question is determine the equation of g. G is in that format. It's the exponential graph. So we're gonna come here, let's just separate our paper like that. All right, now g is in the format a, b, and x there as an exponent. Now the a is gonna be 1. Okay, we'll make it 1 because it passes the point 1 over there. And then what we're gonna do is that we're gonna just go straight to y is equal to what? Bx, because that's 1. And then the point we're gonna work with, the point we are given is it passes through a point 2, 4. So what are we going to do? We're going to substitute that x and that y into that equation in order for us to solve for b. So where there's a y, we put a 4. So we're going to have 4 is equals to b. And where there's an x, we put a 2. It's a 2 over there. Now, in order to get b, that base there, it must have the same base with that number. So we're gonna have a square there is equal to a square there. See what I'm doing? And then that b there should be equal to a number that's gonna make 4 when we put it there and make it a square. So if we put a 2 there, 2 squared is 4. Therefore, that means that since the exponents are the same, then that means the bases should be the same. Therefore, b is equals to 2. Now that means that our final graph is g is equals to the b, which is 2, we just solved it, x. Okay, so that's our final graph. So that's number 1, question 1. Question 2 says write down the equation of the asymptote of g. Now the asymptote of g is just simply the x in the x-axis right over there. So in writing it down, okay, just answering question number 2, the answer will be, since it's the x-axis, that means our equation is actually y is equal to 0. That's our equation. Right, now number 3 says determine the equation of f in the form there that we're given. F, once again, is the quadratic graph. Okay, so I'm going to start. Should I start it this side? Right. Okay, because there are many ways of doing this question, I'm going to choose the simplest one, which requires the turning point and another point, whichever point we're going to choose. We've got many points we can choose. So I'm going to start the graph in this form. Y is equals to A x minus p squared plus q, where p and q are the turning points. Okay, now if we go back here to the graph, we can see that our turning point is 1, 4. 1, 4, like that. So just coming back here, our turning point is 1, 4, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to take that equation, y is equals to a x minus, for our p, we're going to put 1 plus our q is 4. That 4 there, that's the turning point. 1, 4, that's the turning point. Now we need to solve for a, which means we need a point. Okay, now we're going to use one of the x-intercepts, either this one or that one, but for simplicity let's just use this one, which is 0. My bad, it's actually 3, 0. Okay, where that's x and that is y. What we're going to do now, we're going to do the substitution. Where there's a y, we put a 0. That's, we put that a. Where there's a x, we put that 3 minus 1 squared plus 4. Okay, and then from there we're gonna say, okay, that's still 0. A 3 minus 1 is 2, right? So we have 2 squared plus 4. Continue with that. We have 2 squared is 4a plus that 4. Therefore a is going to be equal to, because if we take this 4 to that side, it's going to be negative, and then we divide by 4, that's going to give us a -1. So a is -1, which makes sense because the graph is actually frowning, which means it's a negative graph. Right, now we can go back to our full equation, which is y is equals to that a, we just solved it to be -1. We put that x there, x minus 1 squared plus 4. Now to convert this into the format which they want it in this format, we just simply multiply this out. So we're gonna say, put that negative sign, we'll multiply this, expand this rather. So expanding this is gonna be x squared minus 2x plus 1. Okay, if you don't know how to do this, check out my other video on doing this, plus 4, that one there. So -1 times minus x is gonna be minus x squared, -1 times minus, that's gonna be a plus 2x negative minus 1, and then that plus 4, and at the end we're gonna get that minus x squared plus 2x. Minus 1 plus 4 is plus 3. That's our final equation. Okay, now the next question is, find the equation of the reflection of the graph G about the x-axis, name it h. All right, so G is the exponential graph, and we to reflect it about the x-axis. If you put a mirror here, the graph is gonna turn and it's gonna be something like that. It passes the one, it's gonna be like that. Now, this was number what number? This was number 3. Let's do number 4 here. Okay, so G, we solved it to be 2x, right? Okay, that means H is gonna be just simply minus 2x. So that's all you do. This graph is just a negative graph of that. Okay, and then the next question is write down the inverse of G. Okay, let's do number 5 here. So we have G, that it is y is equals to 2x. Okay, to do an inverse, you always exchange, where this becomes x is equals to 2y. Now, we want it in the form of starting with a y. So we're going to have to do a log here. We're going to say log y is equal to the log of 2, a base 2. The bases are always the same. If you don't know how to do this, go watch my video on logs. I teach how to do that. And then you cross it. That becomes an x. That is your answer right there. Thank you very much. We are done.